President says he's had productive talks with Iran, but they claim to have not had any contact with him. So what's true?
Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you too.
Do not talk to me like that. I'm married. Gross.
Of course the president supports peaceful protests. What a stupid question. Raquel.
Thank you so much, Caroline.
The White Cross is representing people who have perished because of racial persecution. And that's a ridiculous line of questioning.
Some White House press briefings feature a mix of direct answers and carefully worded evasions. Then there are briefings where avoiding the question becomes the strategy itself, where the phrase, "I'm not going to get into that," stops sounding like an occasional response and starts functioning as an automatic reflex.
What does the president have to say about the allegations that he started the war in Iran to distract from the Epstein files?
Did it work?
No.
Then, duh, he obviously didn't do that. And if he did do that, he would need to pivot to another tactic immediately.
On April 28, 2026, White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt spent 38 minutes at the podium, repeatedly declining to answer reporters' questions. The pattern became so noticeable that Jimmy Kimmel took an unusual approach. Rather than filling the segment with punchlines, he began keeping score.
You're asking me for what the president's justification is for these tariffs. It's not up to you. You're not the president, Gabe. Who is saying that she would release this to try to boost her standing with the president? Who has said that?
Intentions. Do you believe
Jennifer,
that he
go
would
ahead.
release that to embarrass the administration ahead of the worldwide threats?
Jennifer, go ahead. White
Any
House.
evidence on that he wasn't aware of it?
You're a reporter. You should find out.
Kimmel aired a supercut from the briefing with a running counter displayed on screen. Every time Leavitt responded with phrases like, "I'm not going to get into that," "I'd refer you to the president, who has been clear," or "I'm not going to litigate that from the podium," the total increased. By the end of the 38-minute briefing, the number wasn't in the teens or even the 20s. It reached 47. According to Kimmel's count, Leavitt declined to answer a question 47 times in just 38 minutes, averaging one deflection roughly every 48 seconds. Kimmel barely needed to explain the point. The steadily rising tally made the pattern obvious on its own, increasing each time another question was redirected instead of answered.
Not to my knowledge, and let me just get to the premise of your question that both of you have raised. I think it's frankly ridiculous. I'm now regret giving a question to the Associated Press. Philip.
I might follow up on what you would
No, go ahead, Philip. Caitlin, I'm not taking your follow-up. Philip,
I have a follow-up on something you just said, though, Caroline. That's
Caitlin, I'm not taking your follow-up. Philip, go ahead. I have called on you. Does anyone have any questions for Patty or for me? No?
I have a question. No. Anybody?
I'll see you all later.
The audience's laughter wasn't driven by a punchline. It came from watching the same response repeat so consistently that it began to feel less like a press briefing and more like a scripted routine, an almost automatic cycle of avoiding direct answers every 48 seconds.
The president has called himself the most peaceful president in history. Iran, do you think that this is accurate?
Do you think that that's accurate? That's you.
No, it isn't.
Oh my God, you are being so ugly and dumb and stupid in front of my baby.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
What made the count so compelling was that it wasn't based on opinion or exaggeration. It was based on arithmetic. The complete April 28th briefing remains publicly available through C-SPAN and the White House's official YouTube channel, allowing anyone to watch the full 38 minutes and compare Kimmel's tally against the recording themselves. Whether viewers agree with Kimmel's conclusions or not, the underlying footage is accessible for independent review.
President Trump is truly the most transparent and accessible president in American history. We have truth on our side at this White House. I think everybody, the American public, believe it's absurd for anyone to insinuate that this president is profiting off of the presidency. It's frankly ridiculous that anyone in this room would even suggest that President Trump is doing anything for his own benefit.
That's all he's doing!
For people who remember a time when White House press secretaries were expected to address reporters' questions directly, when the briefing room served as a place where the administration explained its policies rather than sidestep difficult topics, Kimmel's supercut struck a familiar chord. It highlighted how often certain stock responses replaced substantive answers. According to Kimmel's tally, the phrase, "I'm not going to get into that," appeared 19 times. "I'd refer you to" was used 14 times. The president has been clear appeared 9 times, while "I'm not going to litigate that from the podium" was repeated 5 times. Despite their different wording, each response served the same purpose: redirecting the conversation without directly addressing the question being asked. One reason the segment resonated was that Kimmel largely avoided editorializing. He didn't spend the clip accusing Leavitt of dishonesty or layering the footage with constant jokes. Instead, he allowed the counter to tell the story. After enough repetitions, the pattern became the focus. Quick reminder: if you haven't subscribed yet, take 2 seconds and hit the subscribe button. If you're already subscribed, thank you. Your support keeps this channel going. Back to the numbers. At a certain point, the discussion shifted away from any single question and toward the broader pattern. If a press secretary redirects reporters 47 times in 38 minutes, the individual subjects become less significant than the consistency of the approach itself. Questions covered policy matters. The response was a redirect. Questions focused on investigations. Another redirect. Questions addressed presidential statements. Once again, the answer shifted elsewhere. The topics changed, but the communication style remained remarkably consistent. That consistency is what made Kimmel's running tally stand out. Rather than portraying isolated moments, it suggested a repeated communication strategy throughout the briefing. The arithmetic is straightforward. 47 deflections over 38 minutes works out to roughly 1.24 refusals per minute, or approximately 1 every 48 seconds. Kimmel left that figure on screen long enough for viewers to process its significance. Numbers like that are difficult to dismiss as the product of selective editing, because they invite anyone to review the full briefing and perform the same count independently. The April 28th briefing continues to be publicly available through both C-SPAN and the White House's official YouTube channel, giving viewers the opportunity to examine the footage themselves. That's what makes this kind of comedy different. It depends less on whether someone agrees with Kimmel's politics or finds him entertaining, and more on whether the count accurately reflects what occurred during the briefing. If the tally is correct, then the focus shifts away from the comedian and back to the briefing itself. A press secretary builds credibility by providing clear answers. When repeated deflections dominate the exchange, viewers may begin paying attention to the pattern instead of the explanations. According to Kimmel's count, there were 47 refusals in 38 minutes, a total large enough to become the centerpiece of the segment, before he had to deliver many jokes at all. Subscribe to World Movement. We look for the numbers others overlook, identify recurring patterns, and examine them one step at a time.